This is the Be More podcast. I am your host, Jack Williams, and this is a show all about health, nutrition, mindset, and performing at our very best. And this is going to be your catalyst to being more. Welcome to episode 30 of the Be More podcast. I'm your host, Jack Williams, and today I'm solo. I haven't been solo for a while. We've been bringing guest after guest onto the podcast, and they have been absolutely awesome, and we have got some more exciting ones lined up, including some more revisits from previous badass guests. But today, it is just me, and we are going to talk about something that I have made the most of for a very long time now, since becoming a personal trainer, and that is the morning. So I am an early bird, and I feel like I could do a podcast sharing some information on why you should get up earlier and why it would change your life. I genuinely think me being more proactive and productive in the morning has compounded over time to undoubtedly change my life and the lives of many others as well. So if I was as lazy as I was at university, when I struggled to get into lectures at 9 a.m, I wouldn't have helped people. From 4:30 in the morning, I'll start training clients sometimes normally about 5 a.m, but sometimes as early as 4:30 in the morning. And on other mornings, like the latest I'll start basically is 6 a.m. So that's basically 3 or 4 people a day before 9 a.m. that I wouldn't have coached if I was still a lazy bastard. So that £45 a session times 3 does tell you that I would have not earned nowhere near as much money, nor made as much of an impact on people. So if you are in like a business like mine, whereby you can start work earlier, then do so. But that isn't what it's about. This is more about, I put it in an Instagram post the other day, that if I didn't work those 3 hours, or working those 3 hours from 6 till 9, earns me X amount extra per year, like it's mental. But this isn't about earning more money. This is about, if you were to develop a morning routine, it will change your life without a shadow of doubt. Because I'm not talking about how you brush your teeth. I'm not talking about doing it with a certain hand and putting socks on with your right hand or whatever. I'm talking about building up a morning routine that you can implement 7 days a week, 365 days a year, that enables you to grow as a person, or to be better, to be more. That's what this whole podcast is about. So at the moment, are you waking up as late as possible to get yourself into work, or to get wherever you need to go, to get to your first meeting? Are you just basically judging your wake-up call on that meeting? Now, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about a little thing called sleep. Now, obviously, something that I've been banging on about loads on social media lately, and writing blogs about, because I basically am on my own experiment. I want to see how much I can push performance, how much I can do, and how much I can be, and like how great I can basically be. Because I'm not a person who's gifted academically or genetically. I've just literally got to try and make the best out of who I am. And so I'm pushing every boundary to try and do that. And one of the things that I was leaving potentially, or not making the most of, was sleep. Because sleep can be so beneficial with regards to creativity, like productivity. Like if you don't sleep enough, then I'm pretty sure then your efforts performance-wise in the gym, outside of the gym, mentally, relationships, like everything, they're gonna suffer, right? And even hormonally coming down to your diet, a lack of sleep is going to encourage hormones like leptin and ghrelin, which are hunger hormones, to not work in favour of our fat loss goals, because they simply just tell us we're hungry all the time. Then we go and smash in a burger, and all of a sudden our calorie deficit is gone, see you later, and we aren't losing body fat. So there's loads of reasons why you should sleep more, and I've been doing a lot of research on it, and I'm reading a book now by a guy who's basically Ronaldo's sleep coach. So I love Ronaldo, so I'm listening to it. And he's worked with loads of sports teams, loads of like high worth people, CEOs, people who want to perform really well. So I'm thinking, okay, I need to listen to this book, or read this book, sorry. And I'm also listening to a different book by Matthew Walker called Why We Sleep. The sleep one, the football one, I will tag in the comments below. I can't remember what it's called, but I think it's just called Sleep. And yeah, they're both awesome. And when I do this reading, it's normally in the morning. So I know you think, bloody hell, Jack, you start work early. I basically set my alarm for 4 a.m. and I have started to do that 7 days a week. So I don't work weekends. Well, I don't train clients at weekends anyway. I do my work just from home at the weekends. but there's no real need for me to wake up at 4 a.m. But this author of this sleep book, which I'm going to have to get in a minute, 'cause it's going to annoy me if I don't remember his name, because I want you guys to go and get it and read it, has said we work off what's called a circadian rhythm, which I already knew about, but I didn't really take it that seriously, nor does anyone else. We basically just wake up when we have to, or when it suits us. Like, if we go out on a bender, we're probably going to wake up a little bit later. But this guy basically said, wake up at the same time every day. Your body likes this, your body favours it, and it builds good routine and habit for the body. So, yeah, I've started to do that. And this is actually week 1 for me. So I will touch base with you in a few weeks' time. And I'm going to basically accumulate all the information I get from the 2 sleep books and create my own sleep program. But this sleep routine basically is suggesting we get 7 hours a night minimum, which is then 5 full sleep cycles, because a sleep cycle takes 90 minutes long. And there's a 90-minute routine prior to sleep and upon waking in, before that we have to implement both to ensure we get the most out of our sleep and are our most productive and performing at our highest levels throughout the day. So, on the basis that I'm starting work at like 5:30, 6 a.m, I've decided to make my alarm 4 a.m. every day of the week. So on the days where I start at 6, that gives me some good time to do some self-development. So what I'll normally do, it depends on training. If I go and train before my clients, which is something I do as well, so I'll sometimes go to the gym at 4:30 in the morning. But I'm waffling on about what I'm doing now. What I want to do is give you guys some guidance and 5 reasons why you should have a morning routine, 5 things that you can basically do that will just change your life, productivity, performance massively, right? So one of them is developing a good circadian rhythm, which is good for the body, okay? Number 2, it gives you time for gratitude. So if you watch my vlog, you'll see that every morning and every evening I use a journal called the Best Self Journal. Now, if you're watching on YouTube right now, I'm showing you what it is. And basically, every morning I look at this Best Self Journal and it tells me, Jack, write down 3 things that you're grateful for this morning. So every morning I write 3 things that I'm grateful for. Now, I hugely struggle to be present because I'm a very much like a forward-thinking person and my eyes are on the prize. Like, I've got big goals, I'm always thinking about them, therefore I struggle to be present in the moment. This helps me. And gratitude alone, since doing these Best Self Journals probably about 2 years ago, I'm undoubtedly the happiest I've ever been, because it just makes you realise how fucking lucky we are to have the things that we have and to be in this era almost. Like, I'm talking to a bloody Mac right now with a microphone, and I'm able to speak about whatever I want and share it online, and that can then go and have an impact on someone. Like, if it doesn't, it doesn't. And if it has an impact on one person, then that's enough for me, right? So my dad didn't have this opportunity when he was my age, and he thinks what I do is mental, right? So I'm just super grateful for the generation that I'm born into, podcasting, YouTube, Instagram, the platforms that I can then distribute content to then be able to live my purpose. Like, I feel like my purpose is to help people, to be more, and my calling is to do that. And I genuinely don't feel great unless I'm doing things every single day that works and is working towards that greater purpose that I've got. And you can even ask Robin, like, you could ask my girlfriend on Instagram, say, is Jack grumpy sometimes? And she'll probably say, yeah, when he's hungry or when he's not doing things that they're aligned with his long-term goal. And that's simply what my life has become now. So I've decided this is where I want to go, and here are the steps that I need to take to go and get there. And your goal could be anything. And if it's gym related, because you like all my gym stuff, you think, right, this is how I want to look. I know that it's going to take me this long to do it. I'm going to do these things every day. And then the compound effect of doing those things every single day is going to give me the endpoint result. And it's the things like competing and the body work that I've done, bodybuilding, dieting, these are the things that have made me realise that these things are possible. And that if you have a goal date, and if you work hard consistently towards it and deliver on these small tasks every single day, you will get there. And that's what opened my eyes to being able to think, I can do anything. So whether it's in bodybuilding now or in the gym or with a client or with a property business that I'm building, or whether it be network marketing or whatever it is I'm doing, I can see the end point. I know what my goal is in that area, and I know how to reverse engineer that into what I need to do day by day to move the needle and get me closer to that goal. And if I'm not moving the needle, I don't feel good. So therefore, me getting up at 4 a.m. presents me with more time to work on the things that I need to do in a short day to go and get that done, because that compounds over time. And time goes really fucking fast. But you could lose a month and be like, where did that go? What did I do? Did I do anything to move the needle with regards to where I am now, where I want to be? And this is the reason why I'm doing this podcast now, to make you think, if I wake up an hour earlier every day, it isn't going to make much difference for the first week. But if you do that every day for a year, that gives you 365 hours per year that you can work towards that goal you've got set. And then if you do another hour in the evening, all of a sudden you've almost done 1,000 hours worth of work towards that goal. And they say that the goal, the 10,000 hour rule, which I refer to a lot, is the amount of time that experts say that that's when you become like an expert in your field. So even if it's like something you're doing in the background as a part-time thing, hour in the morning, hour at lunchtime, hour in the evening, you're doing 3 hours a day. It's over 1,000, like 1,200 hours a year. Times that by 4, you're an expert in what you're doing just by doing little bits here and there, working towards the greater part of where you want to be, right? So, yeah. Number 2, time for gratitude. Number 3, time to set goals, also in the Best Self Journal. Like, this isn't a plug to get a Best Self Journal. Just get a bit of plain paper and write it down if that works for you. I use these all the time, but you could get anything. Anything would work. Just having some time for gratitude and to set some goals for the day, and then go out and do them. Like, writing things down does amazing things. Like, I don't know what it is. We live in a world where everything is on a phone nowadays, but for me, if I write something down, it's more powerful. Like, I've got a calendar on my phone. It's more powerful in this book for me. I don't know what it is. It just works for me. Everyone's different. Self-awareness is key. If it works for you, write things down and go and smash it. If it works for you to write in your notes on your phone, go and do it. Like, I don't know about you, but I've got a camera. If I take a photo on that, I value it way more than a photo on my phone. Little things. I'm just like, so if I want to get a good photo, I'll take it on my camera. And then I'll value it a bit more. Like, I'm not going to get it printed. Whereas on my phone, I don't know. I'm just a bit weird like that. Time for goals. So yeah, set some goals. Set them every single day. They could be little. It could be to prep my food for tomorrow. It could be to make sure I go to the gym. Or it could be, some people, these are big goals for some people. It could be to read 10 pages of a certain self-development book, or to learn a new language, like start reading 5 pages on a new French book. It could be anything, right? Number 4, perfect timing, is time for self-development. So I've been consumed by self-development for quite a while now. I got into it probably about 22 when, I don't really know, I just fell across a book that was about mindset, and I'd spent years already listening and watching videos on YouTube on motivation. I was fascinated by them, and I always thought, that's really cool. I wonder how it feels for them to be able to motivate people. And then I realised that there's loads around. There's thousands of videos online. They're popular. And I thought, I'm going to try a book. I never read a book before in my life. Like, I went to university for 3 years. I hated studying. I didn't read. But yeah, I picked up a book, and I felt incredible after reading one chapter of this certain book. And I haven't really looked back since. And there's been times where I haven't been consistent. But the same as, am I working on the things that take me forward? If I don't read now almost on a daily basis, I don't feel that great. Like, I just don't feel like I'm learning. And I feel like I have a lot of things to make up for, because I've spent 21 years in education not trying. So now I'm trying to make up for the fact that I didn't learn what I needed to learn there. So if I'm not learning and growing now, it bugs me. So I now spend time reading every single day. And I'll normally bookend my day with reading morning and night. So I've been in my flat 6 weeks now, and we haven't even got a TV. We've got a TV. I've got a 50-inch bloody thing that I spent a load of money on about 2 years ago, when I used to think things like money and cars and penthouses would make me happy. Then I realised they actually don't. So I wasted a load of money. And actually today, for example, it's quite weird. So I'm getting my car. I've terminated the contract on my car. That's going back to Volkswagen. Cost me an absolute fortune. I'll do a podcast on that, actually, because I think that's quite interesting. And if it encourages someone, so I've got some listeners on here who are a little bit younger than me, and if it encourages you to not go and buy a brand new car, then it's a good investment of your time to listen to it. But basically, that car's going back, and I've had a TV, so it shows that they're not worth getting, right? I've had a TV that cost me about £2,000 that I've not watched once. I watched once. I watched the Champions League final via YouTube, but I've not even got a TV aerial cable to watch it. And the World Cup starts today, and I'm football mad. So I'm going to go get an aerial cable today, but I've been living there 6 weeks. My mates are like, "You watching Love Island, Jack?" I'm like, "No, I'm not watching Love Island. I'm reading a book." And they're just like, "You're well weird." And I'm like, "I know I am." But in 5 years' time, when I've read another 400 books, and you're still watching that shit Love Island on TV, who's going to be in a better position? Like, that's all I think. And that's... But I also think, fair play to them, like, if they want to watch Love Island, that's what they want to do at 9pm till 10pm, that's fine. I'm actually trying to be in bed by then. I'm trying to get to sleep for 9pm, because that then gives me 7 hours sleep. But I do also know that I'm very different to most people, and that I've not always been this way, by the way. Like, I used to watch Geordie Shore, The Anywhere's Essex, I used to watch all that shit, and I would go to bed thinking, my brain would be mash. I'd be thinking, they're a bunch of fucking muppets, aren't they? But that used to be what I used to consume, and that then basically made me who I was. All of a sudden I'd be going out down Tiger, wearing the same clothes as the dickheads on there. Whereas now, all I do is read books and consume content from people like Gary Vaynerchuk, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, massive like motivational self-development coaches, and that's now changed who I am and the way I speak to people, simply because that's just who I am now. And I think I saw a post the other day from a guy that I followed on Instagram, and his actual bio on his Instagram is "You are what you read," and I was just like, I like that a lot. So if you're listening to this and thinking, I don't read at all, join the club. I didn't read at all, and I've read probably about 300 books since I had that mindset, and it has undoubtedly changed my life. So wake up a little bit earlier and just read 10 pages of a book, or even a chapter of a book. It could be fiction, non-fiction, it could be Harry Potter, it could be self-development, it could be whatever you want it to be, but that could then spark something creative in your brain, and that will then enable you to go and perform better in whatever endeavour you're working towards, and then you could get a massive pay rise, or you could get a new opportunity, or you could open the door to something else, and then, or it could give you your spark to go into the gym and do your exercise, whatever it might be. Like, read a book called The Slight Edge. If you want to start with a book, read a book called The Slight Edge. It will blow your mind. Second book I'd read would be probably The Alchemist. Them two are probably my favourite books ever. So one of them's fiction, one's non-fiction. And I think The Alchemist is actually the only non-fiction book that I've read. Non-fiction, non-fake, that's what I've always remembered that as. So, no, it's fake actually. That's the only fiction book that I've read. My bad. Everything else is non-fiction that I've read apart from Harry Potter. And yeah, it's actually recommended by people like Will Smith, who's the other guy? Pharrell Williams, Jay-Z. They all bang on about The Alchemist. So I went and bought it when I was in Australia, read it in 2 days. Unbelievable book. By a guy called Paulo Coelho. Definitely go and recommend reading that. So yeah, in your morning routine, Slight Edge first, second book will be The Alchemist. And the fifth thing that will be so beneficial, the fifth reason why you should have a morning routine, is start your day positively. Like, we live in a largely negative world, right? Where everyone coasts into work thinking, oh, fucking here again. I read something the other day about some stats saying 25% of people that go to work are disengaged. They don't enjoy what they do. And then some other figures, like, I think only 13% were actually engaged in what they do at work. That's mental, right? So if you imagine you're walking into work in the morning, no one wants to be there, and it's just a negative environment, right, if things aren't going well. Whereas if you woke up in the morning and you spent 90 minutes, that's your pre-work routine or post-sleep routine, doing a bit of self-development, exercising, having a breakfast that's a healthy breakfast, you're walking to work feeling a million miles an hour. You're in fifth gear. And I remember actually seeing Greg Plitt do a YouTube video on this before. It was on his motivational videos. And he basically said about how he went to the gym at 4 in the morning. And at that time, I used to think 4 in the morning. There's only 1 4 in my day. Whereas now, I see 2 4s every day. But at the time, I thought, you're mental, Greg. And he'd come out of the gym at 5 in the morning with his top off, looking absolutely jacked. And he'd just be like, the feeling of going out there and smashing the day before anyone else has even woken up is a great, great feeling. And he said, you're going to go into work and you're already in fifth gear. Everyone else is in first gear and they're looking at you thinking, what the fuck has Greg been doing? And that's right, you go in and you go and hammer the day and you're already in fifth gear and you're just cruising through past everybody else. And it's so true. Like, the people that I see in the gym in the mornings, they're the same people that were going there 5 years ago. and they're the same productive people in their day, and that they're going after it. They're getting up and they're getting after it. Like, I have so much respect for people that train in the morning, and when you start it, you don't stop. And it isn't always because of the results you get from training. Because if you eat like a twat, you ain't going to get good results from training. But like, there's guys that I see go in the morning, they don't look all that different to 5 years ago. But they just feel good from doing that morning session. It sets them up for the day. Having a morning routine is addictive. Like, if you have a morning routine that it makes you feel good, you're going to wake up. Like, the alarm's going to go off and you're not going to have a problem getting up. So here's some quick tips on how to get up, because I know that you're going to want to hit snooze. And one thing that's changed the game for me, to be honest, is reading the book. So it's confirmed to me how important it is to have a circadian rhythm. So I'm like, my body needs this, I'm getting up. Secondly, moving my phone to the other side of the room when I go to sleep. So I have to wake up and walk to the other side of the room to turn off my alarm. So that gets me up. I then go back to the bed, to bed, but not get in. I then open the blinds. So then daylight should come in. At 4, it never does. Even in the summer, it don't come in. It's just a little bit lighter than it is in the room before. I'll then walk to the bathroom, have a wee, and then lights are on. We're go time. I'll make a thermo tea, and I will either have like a smoothie, one of my breakfast smoothies, or I'll start reading my book. Like, my nutrition kind of depends, but at the moment I'm trying to build it into having breakfast in the morning. So I went for a long period of doing intermittent fasting, and I haven't stopped doing that for any reason. I just wasn't getting in enough calories in the day, so because I've been so busy with work. But now Robin gets up with me at 4 a.m. She then uses that time to prep meals for the day for us, which she's awesome for. And yeah, we just get loads more done. Whereas if we get out of bed just just when we need to, meals don't get prepped, we don't do self-development, and we rush into work with a panic and anxiety about a day that we have to go and do, and we haven't done anything for ourselves first. And I believe massively in the king eats first, or the queen eats first, wherever you're a guy or a girl. So in the morning, get up and feed the beast. Feed yourself and think, what can I do in this hour or in this hour and a half, or you might give yourself 2 hours to help move me forward as a human being. Go to the gym, do a weight session, do a HIIT session, have a healthy breakfast, write down your things you're grateful for, set some goals for the day, like regulate your circadian rhythm. Like, these are good things for the body. And yeah, you could even do things like meditate, affirmations. There's so many things that you can possibly do that will just set you up to have a better day than if you didn't do those things. And then if you speak to people who have these things in place in the morning, they often stick to them because it makes them better. And everyone wants to be better. So at the moment, if you're feeling like a little bit down in the dumps, think, right, Jack's got a point here. I'm going to start a morning routine and I'm going to stick to it, whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Saturday or Sunday. Weekends as well. It doesn't mean you can't go back to sleep. Just let your body have its routine. Get up. So, for example, this Saturday, on Friday I'm going to watch Jay-Z and Beyonce with Bob's. On Saturday morning, we're going to wake up in London. My alarm's going to go off at 4 a.m. and probably not going to get to bed till about midnight. I'll get up and I'll probably have a thermo tea and I'll read for half an hour. And then I'm going to go for a run around London. Bob's might come with me, it's up to her if she wants to or not. And then I'll get back, probably about 5:30, 6. I then might go to bed for an hour and then get back up and smash the day. Or I'll just carry on and see how I feel. And I'll probably feel fine. And I know that we're getting a coach home in the evening about 7 o'clock. 2-hour coach drive. I'll sleep then. I'll pick up a cycle of sleep then. And I see sleep now as cycles versus hours, because that's what this guy's taught me in the book. Matthew Walker's might be a little bit different. So I'm basically going to accumulate all the information that I want and then build my own way of thinking about it, what works for me in my life. And that's what it's all about. So every self-development book I read, there's similarities in all of them, but every little one's got something different. And all of a sudden I can accumulate all these little things that I've learned to then build myself a structure and a way of living my life, and then having habits in place that enable me to move from where I am now to where I want to be. Like at the moment, I'm where I am. I'm 26 years old. I'm super happy. At 30, my life's going to be very different to what it is now. And I can see it already. I know what I'm going to be doing because I can literally tell you what I'm going to do every 3 months between now and then, and how my goals are going to evolve between now and then. And I've got these best self journals. They're 13 weeks in length. So basically every 3 months, you start a new goal. And I like working that way. If you make me set a goal for a year, I get lost. 3 months lets me get focused. And then in that, there's weekly breakdowns and there's daily goals. That works for me. So when I found these journals and the 12-week year book, I literally was just all over it like a wet raincoat, cheap raincoat. So hopefully this episode of the podcast has added some value to you and your day. It was a little longer than I planned, but I've enjoyed it. Let me know what you think. I do really, really appreciate all your feedback. Like I've had some messages recently from people, and for me, it's just mental to have people who actually listen to this and take up time out of their day to listen to what I've got to say. So thank you so much for all the feedback you give me, whether it be on Instagram, DMs, emails, or however you've contacted me. Thank you so much. Like it means more than you can ever imagine to have that kind of feedback, and it makes me even more motivated to pump out more content and help people more. So thank you so much for that. Have an awesome weekend. I'm going to try and get this podcast posted on Friday, the day that I go to watch Jay-Z and Beyonce. So yeah, and them two, they're hustlers. They've got some cool YouTube videos on motivation. Go and check them out. But in the meantime, if you haven't already, please do me a big favor and subscribe to the podcast, and also leave me a review, and that'll help me go up in the rankings on iTunes. Let's see how high we can get this guy with no academic value at all, just someone who gets up at 3 o'clock in the morning, start a morning routine, and is faking it till he makes it. And hopefully I can share and add value to you guys and make you feel like if he can do it, Jesus wept, so I can do it too. So yeah, let's all go out there, be more, do more, and just have a little more every single day, and be grateful for every moment as well. So yeah, thanks guys. See you in the next one.